One of the more pleasurable aspects of this job is being able to venture down on grand final day after the game and to walk onto the ground with my chairman, Wright Fitzpatrick, and experience the elation and the disappointment of the teams that have just competed. But I'll never forget the 2010 grand final, obviously Collingwood St Kilda. We always get collected around about the 15-minute mark of the last quarter by our football operations team. We also go down with our major sponsor, Toyota, and this was Dave Butner. So the three of us, as we went down to the ground, at that stage Collingwood were leading. By the time we'd walked through the car park onto the ground, that gap had been bridged, and we mused about the prospect of a draw. I'd spoken earlier in the week, particularly in my tips on radio, had predicted a draw, and there was Lenny Hayes again kicking the ball into the forward line, and there's Stephen Milne and Ben Johnson chasing after the ball, and it takes that remarkable leg break and goes through the behinds, and a point scored, and the scores are level. And Mike and I looked at each other, and I think I said something along the lines of, "Don't tell me." We watched that last minute where the ball couldn't get away from the wing and the boundary line.
It's going to be a draw. It's unbelievable. But it's happened.
As we all know, the siren goes and it's a draw, and we look at each other in shock, walk onto the ground. I remember Nick Maxwell coming up to me, very emotional, saying, you know, what's going on? What have we got here? And I went over to Nick Riewoldt, and Nick Riewoldt saying, we've got to come back and do it again next week.
A picture paints 1,000 words.
What was remarkable about the draw is that every year when we have our finals meetings and into grand final week, we always put in place a contingency plan for a draw. And once the draw was a reality, we immediately gathered together 45 minutes after the game in the meeting place in the Olympic room that we'd always talked about. Well, of course, the events team went into overdrive because not only was it organising all the corporate functions, but we had to get some entertainment again, and that's when it dawned on us that we could perhaps attract, I think, Lionel Richie. He was in Hong Kong at the time, and he agreed to do it, and we thought we might have the budget for it given we had a replay, and Lionel Richie, as it turned out, did perform, and he was infinitely better than Meatloaf, I can tell you.
I want to hear some singing, and I'm going to kick some ass. I love you, Australia.
I'm Andrew Demetriou, and this is my favourite finals moment.